This video will discuss the card build of the Summoner in the Gloomhaven board game. As indicated by the name, the Summoner has a lot of summon units that they use to deal damage. Because summons have their own automated directives that move them closer to the enemy, other classes usually have trouble keeping their summons alive long enough to have a decent impact in the game. However, the Summoner has some tools in their deck that allows you to directly control summons, making their summon-centric gameplay more viable. When picking cards, we want to keep in mind that each summon gets their own move and attack, so the more we get out on the field, the more damage we are passively outputting in addition to our own actions. For example, at level 1, if we get both Wolves, the Thorn Shooter, and the Iron Beast, your summons are dealing 7 damage plus potential poison effects. Some core starting cards are Unending Dominance, which lets you reclaim lost cards, and Wild Animation, where the Thorn Shooter attacks at range and poisons enemies. Reclaiming cards is so essential on this character. Just look at the top portion of Unending Dominance. You can just sense Isaac Childress just trying to entice you to waste your extra lost cards on 6 experience. Additionally, Bonded Might and Mighty Bond give you more control over your summons to keep them alive and direct their damage. I think the overall strategy is going to revolve around getting the best summons and keeping them alive through control mechanics. Some ways to make the most of our summons are to put defensive effects on enemies, such as Muddle or Stun to lower damage output, or Curse to add a chance of negating damage entirely. We can also summon at later initiatives since summons don't act the turn they are summoned, then go in an early initiative next turn to act before enemies. Let's look at the cards I would take at each level. Level 2. Earthen Steed has good utility and a nice low initiative, but I think I prefer Grasping the Void for the ranged attack with Curse and Stun potential. I'm all about keeping the summons alive in this build. Earthen Steed synergizes well with the Rock Colossus at level 4, so you might be more inclined to take Living Mountain if you take Earthen Steed here. Level 3. Tear the Fabric has a very strong insta-kill effect on the top as a loss, but this card goes against the archetypal Summoner playstyle and is competing with our other loss cards. I think Oozing Manifestation fits more with our overall build. The Slime is an effective defensive summon that can take a decent amount of damage and also muddles enemies. The bottom can also help immobilize an enemy to protect your summons. Level 4. Living Mountain is a decent summon, but the Rock Colossus can only move one space at a time, so getting into position to actually deal damage can be a problem. I prefer Divided Mind, which allows more control over our summons, either dealing double damage on a turn or moving them around to better positions. Level 5. I actually like both of these cards a lot. If you can keep the Healing Sprite alive, you can passively heal your summons or your teammates. However, Strength in Numbers is a better version of Mighty Bond, and I think the more flexible card. Rather than having another lost summon to keep your units alive, I'm looking at it more as getting value out of your summons immediately before they're brought down. I would take Strength in Numbers. Level 6. I could make the case for either card here. Endless Spikes summons 12 effective health worth of summons that can retaliate and have shields. Inexorable Momentum has a very nice attack on top and movement on the bottom that gives the summoner some much needed movement options. I think this decision comes down to your party composition. I would prefer to take Endless Spikes, but if you're playing 2 players and need some extra attacks, or maybe your party has a tanky character already, then I could see Inexorable Momentum being the choice. Level 7. Again, these 2 cards come down to how you want to play the summoner within your party. Negative Energy has a very nice ranged summon that curses targets with their attacks. You can pair this with Mighty Bond to double up on curses on one turn. Staff of Visions is another reliable attack that muddles a target and offers a decent move option in initiative. I think taking the nails in the previous level opens up a more aggressive playstyle, and I would take Staff of Visions. Level 8. Intervening Apparitions is another very useful way to negate damage, but Otherworldly Rage is another one of those cards that is a non-loss way to get more direct value out of your summons. I would go with Otherworldly Rage. Level 9. Both cards are very fun, however, I think you have to go with the Black Unicorn. Great damage output, and you have a lot of cards to double up attacks every turn. Recovering 2 lost cards is nice, but our other summons don't measure up to the Unicorn. Take Horn Majesty. Final card build is Wild Animation, Unending Dominance, Oozing Manifestation, Divided Mind, Strength in Numbers, Endless Spikes, Staff of Visions, Otherworldly Rage, and Horn Majesty.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.